Hey, Bears fans, a lot of roster moves to break down coming up on today's show, which is a perfect reminder for you guys to subscribe to the channel, because when the Bears make roster moves, big or small, we're going to hit you with a video. So hit that subscribe button and join the movement here at Chicago Bears Now. Welcome into Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham, and the Bears have signed a quarterback to the active roster. We'll kick things off there as Tim Boyle has been poached off of the Lions practice squad. He will now be on the Bears 53-man roster for at least 3 weeks. They also signed defensive end Andrew Brown, but we're not going to talk about him today. Tim Boyle, the newest member of this team, and Courtney Cronin had an interesting note here saying the Bears will carry 3 on the quarterbacks on the active roster for now. Boyle's familiarity with offensive coordinator Luke Getsy from their time together in Green Bay played into why the Bears signed him, which makes sense. We'll talk about Fields and Siemian in a minute, but if you want to beef up the quarterback position because you're banged up, getting a guy who knows your system a little bit makes a lot of sense, and Tim Boyle certainly fits that void. Now, what he doesn't fit is actually being good at football, as in his career he has been pretty bad. 3 starts in his career for the Lions, which all took place last year. 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's gotten into mop-up duty and a handful of other games in his career with Green Bay and Detroit, but hasn't done too much overall. The quarterback situation is interesting, to say the least, at this point in the season. Now, obviously, there's no controversy. If Justin Fields is healthy, he's obviously the starter, but his status still day-to-day, according to Matt Eberflus, as he is again limited in practice today. Trevor Siemian will not practice with an oblique injury, and I kind of think that is the reason the Bears didn't panic but felt the need to sign a quarterback, because, yeah, you've got Nathan Peterman on the practice squad and you could elevate him, but it's possible Fields and Siemian are both out, which means you had to get a second quarterback in here if Peterman starts. So I think the Tim Boyle signing makes me think that Fields probably won't play this week and that Siemian's probably out as well. I think Fields has a chance, but I don't think they're going to force the issue. I think at the very least this signing proves that, hey, unless he's full throttle, we're probably going to hold him out since we have a bye next week. And that's fine with me. You know, we've talked about it numerous times here. Fields has shown a lot this year for me. He's taken steps in the right direction overall. I still would like to see him play at some point again this season if he does get healthy, but I'm not forcing him to action this week just because it's Packers week. If we get to see him, great. If not, no big deal whatsoever, because he's improved as a passer. He's been very dynamic as a runner. It's been a great season for Justin Fields, and he also talked to the media today. We'll get some of his thoughts later on in the show. But Tim Boyle getting into the mix now kind of leaves you with this. Tim Boyle and Nathan Peterman might end up being your top 2 options this week if Siemian and Fields can't go. But I'll be honest, guys, I have no idea who is going to start at quarterback for this football team on Sunday. I think there's a scenario where all 4 of these guys start. Now, Tim Boyle's probably the least likely because he's just now getting into the fold. He's not going to know, anywhere near the entire playbook. He'll know some of the concepts with that overlapping with Luke Getsy, but it's not a situation where he can come in and know everything. So it probably would be Nathan Peterman over him, but there's still a scenario where Fields plays, Siemian. So what do you guys think? Who starts against Green Bay? I'll give you all 4 options. Type JF for Justin Fields, type TS for Trevor Siemian, TB for Tim Boyle, or NP for Nathan Peterman. I think it's going to be Fields or Peterman. I think Siemian's probably out, and if Fields can't go, I think Peterman will be the starter, and Tim Boyle would end up being the backup. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Justin Fields, as he was asked about his status and said, I feel better than last Wednesday for sure, just feeling better each and every day. He always talks to the media on Wednesday and saying there that he feels better this week than he does last, and just based on how he talked and how he answered questions today, it's clear that he wants to be out there. If he's healthy enough, he wants to play. He doesn't view this as a situation just because the Bears are 3-9 and there's conversation out there that tanking is the better outcome. among the fans and stuff like that. He doesn't view it that way. He wants to play if he can, but you got to think that with the bye week being next week, you give him one more week off, he gets the bye week, and then he can come back for the final 4 games and play then. He says that doesn't factor in. If he's healthy enough this week, he wants to play. Eberflus said the same, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out at the quarterback position. Certainly getting interesting with several names in the mix. Some other Bears injury notes: Eddie Jackson officially out for the year. Matt Eberflus announcing that today. He and Darnell Mooney were officially placed on injured reserve. Neither will return this season. Dane Cruikshank is heading to IR as well, likely going to be season ending for him. Also, Larry Borom, Riley Reiff banged up at right tackle. We'll talk about that and a potential starter if they both can't go. And then Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker in the concussion protocol. And I think when it comes to those two guys specifically, with the bye week next week, I keep mentioning that, don't risk guys. I saw someone say, hey, these are young players, let their brains rest. I think that's a really good point. I mean, you're a 3-9 football team. You're not fighting for the playoffs. Even if they clear protocol Friday or Saturday right before the game, like, they're not going to have had practice. I think holding those two guys out for another week just is logical. We'll see if that happens, but I think that would make a lot of sense. More news and notes to come, but if you guys want to get a Justin Fields jersey this holiday season for yourself or a gift for someone else, we got plenty in stock for you guys at chatsports.com/fields1. It is chatsports.com/fields1. You can get a navy, a white, and orange jersey. This is the one I've got right here, the orange Justin Fields jersey. Plenty available in a ton of different sizes. Go check it out. The link is below, chatsports.com/fields1. That link in the comments and in the description of this video. Now, is Alex Leatherwood going to start this week? It certainly feels like that's very possible, as Matt Eberflus even acknowledged that could be the case due to the status of Riley Reiff and Larry Borom, and I think also just because of the intrigue from the coaching staff to start evaluating here, and I think that's what they should do. Here's what Flus had to say. He said, "We are excited and intrigued to see where it goes because he is a heck of an athlete at that position, and we'll see it where it goes from there." Now, obviously, he has not played for the Bears yet this year. He's been inactive for most games. Was active 1 or 2 weeks when Borom was banged up, but has been inactive the last couple of weeks. I want to see him play. Now, if he's been inactive, that probably means he's not super far along yet, but let's see where he is. Even if he struggles, I think it's important to start evaluating some of these young players. Riley Reiff is injured. He's not a long-term piece. Larry Borom is banged up. He's struggled. I think this is a perfect opportunity to get Alex Leatherwood out there and plug him in at the right tackle position on this depth chart, because we've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it. After Braxton Jones and Tevin Jenkins, do you really have any long-term, for sure, answers on the offensive line? You could bring Cody Whitehair back. He's under contract, but you could also cut him and save money there. Sam Mustipher, he's a backup. Lucas Patrick's on IR. Schofield, 1-year deal. You look at this, and Alex Leatherwood is a guy that you claimed off waivers and have control of for 3 more seasons. Don't you want to see what he could potentially be for you? I think playing him at right tackle this week and potentially the rest of the season is only the smart thing to do. Do you want Alex Leatherwood to start at that right tackle position? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Type Y for yes or type N for no. And again, just overall, I think especially on the offensive line, but really the whole roster, you want to have a full outlook, at least as best as you can, on what this position group and the entire roster is. Is Alex Leatherwood a potential starter next year? Well, if you don't play him, you're not going to know. So I think playing him and starting him is a good idea, even if he ends up struggling, because then that gives you a clear answer of he's not a starter, he's a backup, we got to go get a right tackle this offseason. Because as of now, you do not have a long-term answer at right tackle on your roster unless it's Alex Leatherwood. It's not Larry Borom, although we were hoping that would be the case. It's clearly not Riley Reiff, who's 33 years old, so maybe Leatherwood can be that guy. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time here on the channel.